To conclude this chapter about personalization and to give some manager takeaways, hyper-personalization in smart environments goes beyond simply knowing a customer's name. Let's wrap up our discussion by highlighting the key takeaways from our research findings. Let us summarize quickly the main points of the construal level theory with a clear trade-off and its implications for CRM strategy. It explores how the distance and abstraction of data affect our perceptions and behaviors. When data is abstract and distant, like general demographics, we feel less sensitive and more trusting. However, when data is concrete and close, such as health or financial information, our concerns about privacy increase. This means that the closer data feels to us, the more protective we become. But personalization value can also go up because the service becomes truly tailored. Our results show a clear threshold. Up to a certain point, personalization increases the perceived relevance and trust. However, if the AI becomes too smart without a clear benefit, it triggers psychological reactance, the feeling that the machine is monitoring you. This is where personalization becomes creepy instead of cool. In CRM, this highlights the need for transparency and security when handling concrete, sensitive data. Personalization must be valuable and aligned with privacy expectations. If AI becomes too intrusive, it can lead to distrust. Ultimately, effective personalization enhances perceived value and fosters customer relationships. CRM should focus on personalization as a promise, ensuring customers feel understood and supported. Social presence can transform artificial intelligence from something perceived as creepy into something perceived as empathetic. Social presence theory teaches us that high social presence AI, like voice assistants, empathy, and conversational style like human-like bots, triggers a sense of human presence and helps create social and emotional connections with the brand and reduce psychological distance between users and machines or AI. This makes the interaction feel like a human conversation rather than a data harvest, which significantly increases user comfort and trust. The AI no longer feels like a cold machine, but more like a cooperative partner. That lowers privacy concerns and increases trust. Subsequently, emotional value and perceived personalization value emerge. Users feel more comfortable, more understood, and more accepted. Ultimately, this increases well-being, the most powerful driver of long-term loyalty. On the other hand, low social presence AI, like silent recommendation algorithms, can feel distant and black box, which increase privacy concerns and reduce trust, emotional and personalization value. This decreases well-being and long-term loyalty. This is exactly the transformative service research logic. AI-based services should improve life quality, not just efficiency. Social proximity and emotional connection lead to well-being. Well-being leads to trust. Trust leads to loyalty. Well-being is not just a moral outcome. Transformative service research explains why well-being value is a powerful and strategic driver of loyalty and long-term customer relationships. The strategic implication is, when trust is fragile, increase social presence with anthropomorphic cues and data explainability to make the AI feel safer and more understandable. Turn off location history. With one click, that combination increases personalization value and reduces privacy fears. The personalization privacy paradox highlights the dual nature of personalization in our digital lives. On one hand, personalization enhances our experiences, making them more relevant and convenient. It boosts our satisfaction and overall well-being. However, it also raises concerns about data privacy, leading to feelings of intrusion and risk. The key to navigating this paradox is empowerment that acts like a valve that regulates the flow of data. When users feel in control of their data, trust builds, and well-being flourishes. Regulatory mechanisms like granular opt-in and the right to be forgotten help reinforce this control. Ultimately, empowerment is what determines whether personalization supports us or feels threatening. Thank you for joining us in exploring this important topic. Here is the overall managerial guidance for the personalization privacy calculus. In our research, we categorize data by sensitivity. Low sensitivity, abstract data such as browser type or general usage patterns is relatively easy for users to share. In contrast, high sensitivity, concrete data such as biometric information or behavioral patterns feels like an intrusion into the user's psychological core. Managers must recognize that the more concrete the data, the higher the perceived sensitivity and privacy concerns, and the greater the level of trust required to access it. The central principle is to match personalization depth to psychological comfort. Sensitive data should be used only when the added personalization value is clear, visible, and explainable. Managers must communicate why data is collected and, critically, how it directly benefits the user. Personalization strategies should therefore be segmented by domain. In high-sensitivity contexts such as health, mobility, or finance, the focus must be on trust, security, and user control. In lower sensitivity contexts, the emphasis can shift toward relevance, convenience, and engaging interactions. Personalization should ultimately support user well-being. This includes reducing stress, improving health, supporting better daily routines, and increasing confidence in decision-making. Concrete examples make this visible. Sleep applications can help users develop healthier habits. Smart home systems can support elderly users through safety and assistance routines. Effective personalization reduces stress, saves time, improves health, or supports better choices. This may include reminders that improve sleep quality, personalized energy tips that lower bills without feeling intrusive, or travel recommendations that reduce uncertainty and planning effort. Well-being is not an abstract concept. It becomes tangible through improvements in everyday life. Users should feel that technology works with them, not on them. These outcomes are transformative rather than incremental. They strengthen adoption because the value feels meaningful, personal, and human. Let us translate our core findings into a managerial action matrix. For highly sensitive data, such as health or financial information, the strategic focus must be on sovereignty and safeguards. Users require absolute control and strong empowerment. The primary KPI in this context is perceived data security. For moderately sensitive data, such as energy consumption or GPS information, the focus shifts to contextual transparency. Managers should clearly explain the value and utility of data at the moment of use. The key KPI becomes utility accuracy. For low sensitivity data, such as media and entertainment preferences, the strategic emphasis is on delight and serendipity. Discovery, emotional engagement, and social cues become central. The key KPI in this context is discovery delight. Across all data types and levels of personalization, well-being remains the final objective. In all contexts, empowerment acts as the regulating valve that determines trust and the flow of data. Social presence creates emotional and social connections with brands. At the same time, it generates functional benefits through personalization. Personalization enhances well-being by improving convenience, relevance, and psychological comfort. Increased well-being strengthens trust, and trust ultimately leads to loyalty. Here we see concrete examples of how AI enhances well-being. Fitness applications such as Decathlon or Fitbit offer personalized coaching and health insights. Beauty platforms like Sephora provide customized cosmetic recommendations. Tesla enhances user experience through personalized entertainment and maintenance services. Smart home systems from Amazon and Google optimize living spaces for comfort. In fashion, AI styling assistants such as those used by H&M tailor recommendations based on trends. Content platforms like Netflix personalize viewing experiences. Michelin offers proactive maintenance alerts that improve vehicle safety and comfort. Across all examples, increased well-being leads to stronger customer loyalty. We close with a strong smart marketing ecosystem example combining AI and connected devices, smartwatches and wearable sensors. On the surface, a smartwatch can feel like a nice gadget, like tracking steps. But in a broader healthcare ecosystem, wearable sensors and AI can detect health anomalies, support prevention, early warnings, and better medical decisions. The smartwatch and wearables process the alert and determines the appropriate response. Doctors and hospitals are notified automatically. Ambulances are routed efficiently. Patients receive care faster, sometimes before symptoms are even recognized. In this ecosystem, AI does not replace humans. It augments human decision-making. From a CRM perspective, this changes the customer relationship. The brand becomes a health or well-being partner. But again, because health data is highly sensitive, adoption depends heavily on trust, privacy protection, and perceived control. When designed responsibly, AI and IoT improve well-being, save lives, and create meaningful value for individuals and society. In summary, we can say social presence creates emotional and social connections with brands. At the same time, it generates functional benefits through personalization. Personalization is one of the strongest levers in smart CRM, but it creates adoption only if it is supported by trust and perceived control. The pathway is clear. Personalization by improving convenience, relevance, and psychological comfort increases emotional connection, which leads to well-being. Well-being leads to trust. Trust leads to loyalty in EE. So the strategic message for companies is design personalization as a customer benefit. Explain it clearly and protect customers' privacy. That is how smart CRM can deliver both functional efficiency and emotional legitimacy at the same time. The key question is, what is the future? The future of CRM is not only more data. It is better design of the customer relationship with AI, more transparency, more control and empowerment, more meaningful value.